questions or need anything from me.
Got an overview how it's gone, Mike?
Overall, been really pleased with. First of all, the right attitude, the effort, the discipline, the accountability. There's a lot of things that go into it before you even worry about technique, assignments, and that part. Feel really good about. Our leadership as a group has been probably as good as it's ever been. So, the mentality of this group, you can tell, hopefully it bothered all of us, what happened. We're not here to dwell on it. We know we can play better. So I think that part affected them, affected all of us. So, they care about, how they play, and if we want to win like we want to win, they know we have to play better defense. So I think that, just going back and, reevaluating the whole situation, I think that was critical to our ability to move forward and take ownership of what we did or didn't do, and now we're ready to move forward. And, we let that go, and I think the players understand what their part of it is, coaches understand what their part of it is, and you move forward. And that's what they've done. And, we ain't worried about, what happened. We know what we did and didn't do a year ago. So we're concentrating on how we can improve, how we can play better, and taking it day in and day out. And been a lot better competition, guys working for, playing time. So we're starting to build depth across the board, and that helps us, and it helps other people stay involved. So, overall couldn't be, more pleased where we're at, but, we got a long way to go. But our players, we're heading in the right direction, and that to me is, the most pleasing part of it. They're, anxious to, go to work and improve, and they understand where they need to get better at. So that's a good place to be, and, I know we got a long way, another, 4 weeks before we play. So just pleased with our young kids. I'm not going to evaluate every young player here. Just as a group, I'd like to just say it's probably as good a group, just as a whole. Their ability to take coaching, their care levels, it seems to be extremely high. And that to me is where it all starts. Emotionally, they like to compete, and they the summer workouts weren't overwhelming for any of them. So, that bodes well for their success. They, technique, skill level, there's a lot there that has to be refined. But, there's some talented players in the group as a whole.
Mike, you're working with, so many young guys at inside linebacker. Is it, when you get a kid that's a linebacker these days, is it a whole lot different than 15 years ago with these guys playing all these spread offenses all the time?
What's different about it is, there's a lot more formations, not just the spread. It's in college, you run maybe 10 or 15, maybe 10 different calls. In each position, where that back is, where this is, it all changes for linebackers. So linebackers always have the most to deal with. The inside backers, whether it's Mike or Will, Sam's is probably the easiest overall to learn. The Mike is obviously the hardest position to learn, the middle backer, just because so much is happening both ways. The Will's a little bit easier, but they're hard just because the amount of defenses and, like you said, the formations and the tempo that people play at. They get guys moving, and the tempo of the game is what makes it hard. But we try to. You have to be simple, but you have to be complicated enough where you don't make it too simple for an offense.
Mike, given the tempo you just described, the way the game is called, the offensive coordinators in the conference, how should we measure what's strong defense? What's very good defense these days?
Each game it varies. We know when we play good defense. We know when we don't play very good defense. It's it's the way the world is and the way this league is. It's different than any other in football, but we still know what winning football is, and we know what not winning football is. So no one's going to have to. We'll know. I'll let you know if we played good enough, usually. And as a whole. We need to play better, and our players know that.
What's it like having Lincoln overlook the defense some now, and how's he doing so far?
It's great. it just gives you an offensive perspective. We talk a lot about, what's good, what isn't, how this front works, how that front works. He's seen it all from an offensive perspective. He's as good a play caller and, game manager of setting up a scheme, and he knows what the good things and what isn't. So, just talk about, those things and how all those things affect their offense. So that's what's good about it. And, he's, if it isn't going right, he's going to let you know. But, he has confidence in us, and that to me is everything. So he's never said one word, until, he will. And if he doesn't see something he likes. But, that's how our communication is and has always been. So I think there's a tremendous amount of, trust, and that's, that says a lot about him. How that's even another way he's so much more like Bob. Their trust level is extremely high, and they're going to let you do your job, and you better do it right, or, those are consequences we all face. So we know what those are.
Is he talking to you? Do you have more of those conversations, football talk, than before, or is it the same?
It's the same. When I see certain things, or he sees, nothing. No, we don't sit down for 5 minutes and have coffee and, talk about how we just, when we see each other, I know what they're doing, what they're doing. If I see something different, I ask him why he sees, what I mean? This is, just trying to get perspective.
Given what you want to do up front this year with the four-man front, how important is DJ Ward into that, and how perfect is it or good is this defense for him with what his skills are?
Well, DJ, he's as important as any of the other guys. I mean, we have to have all 11 playing at a high level, but DJ's built more for a defensive end, so we're going to try to put him in those positions more. But we need all 11 players to play well. But DJ has been a reliable guy, and he's a guy that we can count on.
Mike, another D-line question related to now having two coaches. Calvin was saying, hey, it's not uncommon to have two coaches coaching that D-line. But how have you seen those two guys working together? Ruffin obviously comes in after spring ball. How did they have to get together to make it so it was pretty seamless for that D-line?
Well, we wanted to keep continuity in the way we teach our players. You don't want to, our players have been through enough, so we wanted to make sure we kept the continuity in how we teach our players, and that's where, the blend, and that's where, what Ruffin likes, what Calvin, what the terminology, how we taught our kids. He was able to teach Coach McNeil, this is why, this is how we call it. You may say it this way, we say it this way in this drill. Just so we try to get our players not to, this isn't a whole nother system. We're just, we're just adding another D-line coach. So they do a lot together. They watch tape together. It's benefited us, I think already. The communication on the D-line has been better as a whole, and that's where all that comes together. So.
Mike, when Lincoln got here 2 years ago, how quickly did he win you over? What impressed you early on about working with him?
About one practice, I could just tell. You know what bothers defenses, and that's where, if you've been around long enough, what he's trying to do. I understand how he tries to open the field up, how he tries field space. I mean, if you see things, you understand. That's the brilliance of who he is, and how minute one thing may look, but it's a whole nother scheme, and how he utilizes the field is what it's how I see it. It's just one of his, and then his timing and how he sets things up. So that's what all good offensive coordinators do. So no, it doesn't take long. It didn't take me long. Mike Leach, I think it was the same. One practice, they had guys going all over the place. We were trying to match up. I was like, what the heck is this? I mean, so we had to make some adjustments. They make you better coaches is what they do. So you learn a lot from them just by what they're trying to do. You try to, you have a pretty good idea what they're getting at.
Mike, are you any closer with the inside backers, and can you fill us in on those three, maybe four guys competing in there?
It's been interesting, trying to piece this thing together with those guys. You look at, whether it's Caleb Kelly, you look at Kenneth Murray, you look at John Michael Terry, you look at our Will linebacker, Emmanuel Beal. Obo's Obo's in a kind of a category of his own. How we manipulate him. Those and Curtis Bolton. Those five guys have played, really at a high level initially. So what we're doing, when we go to nickel, what we're doing is we're moving Caleb to Will linebacker. So Will and Sam are pretty interchangeable. So we're looking to put him in Emmanuel at that Will position. We're looking to put John Michael Terry and Kenneth at the Mike position when we go nickel. And then when we play regular people, we like Caleb at the Sam position, him and Curtis Bolton. So Curtis has been awesome. We've moved him from Sam, Mike, and Will. We don't like moving. We tried it. We've moved Kenneth enough. We're not going to move him anymore right now. We're going to let him get comfortable at the Mike and see how they progress, him and John Michael. When we're in big sets, we don't Emmanuel. Then we would bring in a younger player, or Curtis Bolton would be. Curtis would be the swing guy behind the Will right now in the Mike or the Sam. So Curtis we've moved him to an outside Sam, the backup Caleb. If something happened to Caleb right now, our younger players just aren't there yet. We'll see how they progress in the next month.
Mike, when you took your head coaching job, how much did discipline, player discipline, how much of that weighs on you? Like, knowing that you're going to be responsible for that when you're a head coach.
I think every discipline weighs on you, and it bothers you because you never want to dismiss a player from a program. No coach ever wants to do that. Players do that to themselves, and that's what people have to understand. We don't do that. Sometimes you have to for the betterment of your team, and it's addition by subtraction. And that's been going on for many years. And we're not talking about any specific case, but I think it bothers you because you don't want that to happen. You don't want to see kids make mistakes. That hurts you, and and I know that's how all of us are because regardless of what you think, we care deeply about our players and their success, and especially somebody you recruited. So you take that. That's not an easy deal, but. Like I said, you gotta move on, and we got guys that want to do things right. You have to. Without discipline, this thing, it won't work. So
Lincoln's in a position for the first time, Mike, where he's sort of the front line of expectations as a head coach. And here, that's a big deal, obviously, with the just the winning you've done and the expectation that it'll continue. Bob is someone who handled that pretty easily, it seemed, over his year. What was the secret to that for Bob, and how should Lincoln try to emulate that?
Bob never worried about anything, or to us, to me, to any other coach or any other player, never once flinched. And that, that's just, whether he's confident or not, you don't know. He ain't ever going to show you. You know what I mean? That's the key to that, and to you or to anybody. If he was worried about something, would never go down that route, no matter how bad it was. He told me one time, I think I was at Arizona, they had to move a tight end to tackle and won 27-0, against Oklahoma State the last game of the year. He never even, what are you going to do about it? Worrying about it, never worried, no matter what the situation was. And that's a gift. I don't think everybody's like that. I think that's, the way he thought through his whatever, that's a strong, it's a smart, place to be. His cup was full every day. It wasn't half full, and that's a good quality.
Has Lincoln showed any inkling to that?
No, he won't. Nope.
Time for one more question. Set. What type of linebacker do you hope he can be, or can you elaborate on his role in the new scheme?
Caleb's improved tremendously from a year ago. He's a totally different player. He's more explosive. He's bigger. He's stronger. He's 10 pounds heavier, and a lot stronger and a lot quicker. So, we have to have him. We're trying to, get him on the field, keep him on the field. But we got other good players too. So competition makes everybody better. And again, he'll play his normal position. We're in certain big sets, and then he'll go to a will linebacker and compete with Emmanuel. When we go to our nickel package. So we're just giving him more opportunities. And we'll see how it plays out. Long term, I would say this will be this is where how we'll do it. We'll see, or we just leave him at will. But to teach him a lot of the run game, and a lot of the bigger sets gets hard. So we're starting to just migrate him, that way, so he can be a full-time player too. Okay, thanks, guys.